The Eagles have a big problem, and it's not what you think. Welcome in, everybody, to another edition of the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. It's great to be here with you on Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020. As always, joined alongside Gavin Tony. Gavin, it is great to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Zach. Tonight's game 3 of the Lakers. They're going to lose tonight. Denver Nuggets are winning, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Zach, I'm great. How about you?
I'm all right. A little more calm than yesterday, but as you said, a lot of sports going on. Stanley Cup final last night. The Lightning tied it up at 1 apiece. Game 3 is tomorrow. We got tonight tonight is the NBA Western Conference Finals, and that is the Lakers and the Nuggets. And then tomorrow, I believe it is the Eastern Conference Final, Game 4, between the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. So lots of sports going on, that's for sure. Thursday night, Miami Dolphins and Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know why, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But other than that, Gavin, good to be here.
Is Tua playing?
No.
Then there's no reason to watch it. But hey, Zach, guess what? I called it last night, didn't I? Raider Nation, baby, stand up. Not even a Raiders fan, but stand up.
Yeah, I mean, that was an incredible game. Wasn't even competitive in the second half, honestly. The Raiders really ran away with it at the end. Josh Jacobs looked good. Derek Carr looked fantastic. It was a great outing for him. Saints looked really lost. Drew Brees, not a single completed pass of more than 20 yards, which is pretty bad. So Emmanuel Sanders, 1 catch, 2 drops. So a rough night for them, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yep.
All right, we'll start it off. The Eagles. I mean, we got to talk about them, unfortunately. I was looking over the schedule last night, Gavin. I honestly don't think the Eagles break 500 this year, at least as of right now. But the Eagles do have a big problem, and it's not what you might think. I know yesterday I talked about Carson Wentz. Gavin talked a lot about Doug Peterson. It's all of the above and then some. I'm just trying to figure out something. We're hearing nothing from this locker room. We don't get any information right now. We can't pry stuff out of the players this year due to coronavirus the way that we have in the past. We're not going to get to hear Zach Ertz talk. We're not going to get to hear everyone else talk. Only people you're going to hear talk are Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson. It's simply not enough for people like us, Gavin, who are supposed to sit here and analyze and figure out what the heck is going on. But the Eagles have a bigger problem than that. First of all, you have the Nick Foles, Carson Wentz issue. That gets settled. We as fans, Gavin, you and I have talked about before how happy we are as this organization was able to handle this so well. And they paid him. 5-year deal, a lot of money, one of the most highest guaranteed payments of all quarterbacks at the time before Dak was paid, which he still hasn't been paid, which as of right now deserves to be paid, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But I'll make this pretty clear. The Eagles didn't have to rush to pay him as long as they got rid of Nick Foles. Because that would have, become his locker room. If you ever watched Hard Knocks last year, Carson Wentz won this locker room over last year. All right, so I don't even know what to say anymore. There's a lot of audibles I keep hearing Carson Wentz doing. I was reading this morning, like Carson Wentz has a better relationship with Jeffrey Lurie, arguably, than with Doug Peterson, and that's a problem. And so here's what more we have to say. Last year, Doug Peterson said publicly that he was going to keep Mike Rowe on board. He was going to keep some of the other coaches. 2 days later, they were let go. All right, Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, they jumped over Doug Peterson's head. And that does not make for a good look in any way whatsoever. So if we're being obvious here, it's just, what do you say to that? You jump over your head coach's head. Like Matt Klentak didn't want to fire Gabe Kapler. Ownership did. All right, Mike Rowe and all these other coaches. Jim Schwartz is still here. Why the heck is Jim Schwartz still here? So, I don't get it.
Why the hell is he still here?
I don't get it. I'll be honest with you. So I'll make this. I've said this before. I'm making it clear. There is a problem in the front office. There's a problem with this quarterback. There's a problem with this team. For some reason, these players aren't developing. You literally have no linebackers right now. Davion Taylor's on the sideline. He's fast. Put him in the game. Yeah, Nathan Gary is your best linebacker. The Eagles, they suck at drafting without a surprise. They suck at player development, and they suck at play calling. So what do you think? When you're losing games like this, Carson Wentz saved the team last year. All right, he did. This year, the ship is sinking, and he's at the helm. Okay? And Gavin, I know you're upset with all the Carson Wentz blame. No, I don't think he should be benched. If Baker Mayfield, Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins. I can go on of guys who still have jobs in this league. Don't give me this. I'm not going to curse, but don't give me this BS of that Carson Wentz needs to be replaced right now. Only reason you say that is because Nick Foles was, again, they really ran the ball in those games. So I have a very clear argument for some of that. But even Nelson Aguilar looked shifty last night for the Raiders. I'm as of right now, what's his name? Rasul Douglas is the 10th best cornerback according to Pro Football Focus in the league. There are some serious development problems here, and it's not just with the quarterback. Why is Carson Wentz not developing to know to throw the ball away? Why is he not doing this? Someone's got to help him. He can't do it all himself. I'm sorry, you can't. 5 years in the league, at some point you got to do something. Why did Matt Collins never develop here? All right, why did we let him go? Why is J.J. Arcega-Whiteside still struggling here in his second year? Okay, first of all, you should have drafted DK Metcalf. It's the perfect storm, Gavin, of bad drafting, bad player development, and bad coaching, and then bad quarterback play on top of all of that. I mean, at some point you got to do something. You have half the field locked down. Darius Slay's doing a hell of a job right now. No one wants to talk about it, but he's doing a fantastic job. He was on 94.1 talking yesterday. Prefers to go by Slay, by the way, not Darius. So he's been doing a great job. Okay? And you're still losing games, and you're still struggling. Jim Schwartz needs to go because he has talent. All these other players, and Malcolm Jenkins did not look good last night. He made one good play. He actually didn't look good. So anyone that thinks he still should be here, I'm not sure about that. But you do need a veteran presence in the secondary. I thought Darius Slay could do the job. Jalen Mills is there as well. But there are some serious problems, and it's player development too. Basic play calling, right? Carson Wentz, is he changing the play too much because he doesn't like Doug's play calling? Does he go up to Doug and say, I think we should do something different? Doug didn't call the Philly special. Nick Foles called that. Let's be real here. I like Doug. I think he's a good guy. Emotional IQ is what this front office looked for when they brought him in. Chip Kelly was a terrible guy when it came to the emotions. Doug Peterson does a great job with that. I'll give it to him. But when, for some reason, there's something going on where not only are you drafting poorly, not only are you having bad player development, but then bad play calling. And then you got injuries on top of all of that. So I don't know what to say anymore, Gavin.
It's like, actually, I got a question for you, but before I get that to you, let me answer this. You talk about front office problems. Howie Roseman to 2024, right, or 2022, past one of those 2 years. Then you got Carson Wentz. You talk about player development. We could go about poor decision making. Kyler Murray was able to throw the ball away easily with no problem. Kyler Murray, a second-year player, knows how to throw the ball away. Lamar Jackson, same thing. Why isn't a quarterback that arguably should be better than both those two guys combined? It's not. So, Zach, my question for you is, you talk about player development. You talk about Doug Peterson. You talk about front office. Is it time we just clean house? Is it time we just clean everything but the roster itself?
I don't know what to do. The reason that we've always respected them like the Eagles is because we thought they had a stable front office. But that's become so untrue in the past 2 seasons. I mean, 9-7, and this year probably 5-11, in all honesty. And that's pretty rough. But this is a tough schedule. So, I mean, I don't know what to say. This team could come out next week and look great, and we're all going to think they're good again. Yeah, I mean, we started 1-2 last year too, so no need to fret. But now you get rid of the coach first. That's the first step. If that doesn't work for a year or two, then you clean the house. If that doesn't work, then you'll get the quarterback. It's that simple. There's no reason to believe that Doug Peterson and this coaching staff should still be struggling. I mean, it's only week 2, but we've had problems in the past. This is nothing new. All right,
So
go back and watch the 3 games last year: New England, Seattle, and Miami. Everybody wanted Carson Wentz gone. I mean, you ran the ball, 11, 12, 13 times in a Miami game where you were ahead. There was something seriously going on here, and it starts from the top and it goes down. You want evidence? DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin. Look at the other guys who develop. Van Jefferson, even in LA, develops nicely. Look at Sean McVay's creative play calling. The Eagles have none of that. Is it Carson Wentz? Is it Carson Wentz like dissing him? Is it Doug? I don't know what it is, but there's a serious issue here.
Well, Zach, you want to talk about Sean McVay? Let's just rave about Sean McVay real quick. Let's look at Sean McVay as a whole. Hell, let's look at John Harbaugh. Sean McVay first. You lose to Todd Gurley, who was arguably the best player on your offense. He gets arthritis in his knees, and you still go to the Super Bowl. I know you lose. Next year, our Todd Gurley's not as effective. You come out and you're still effective and winning football games. You missed the playoffs by a little bit because your division was good. This year, you're 2-0 without Todd Gurley, and everybody is doing good. So, okay, so what else? Now you go to John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh had to reinvent his entire offense for Lamar Jackson. And what happened? 14-2, 9-7 in a playoff loss. I know they don't have playoff wins, but Zach, you would think a quarterback in Carson Wentz and a guy like Doug Peterson, shouldn't they be ahead of those guys? Those guys I named, Jared Goff, came in the same time as Carson Wentz. Second pick, first pick, Jared Goff first, Carson Wentz the second. They both went to Super Bowls. Carson Wentz didn't play, Jared Goff did. But Zach, my thing is this: if Jared Goff is having success with Sean McVay, why isn't the success with Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson working? Hell, I think Jared Goff is worse than Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is better than Dak Prescott. I know it's hard to say that right now, but I think out of all three of those quarterbacks, Carson Wentz is still the best quarterback.
The most talented quarterback.
Most talented. I know there's excuse me, I know there's other ones like this Deshaun Watson and all those boys, but still.
From that draft, Carson Wentz is the most talented quarterback.
Yes.
That's it. Like it. Work around his skill set. He's the best quarterback. He past 3 years, he leads the league in passer rating outside the pocket. It baffles me how they don't move him out a little bit more. It baffles me how the offense continues to stale. So it's so frustrating. Reed here heard on the radio, if you look at the plays Doug was calling a friendly offense and Wentz was ad-libbing, how could you make it easier? Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of everything. We're trying to diagnose and figure out the problem here. Whether or not, again, Carson makes a lot of changes at the line. At some point, you got to be stern with him. At some point, heck, I mean, I'd even threaten to bench him. Again, I don't think you should, but you got to keep him. He's a very humble, well-spoken individual.
Well,
but there are some problems here, and whether it's the talent, whether it's him, right now you can't blame the talent because he's not doing his job. He's missing too many throws, and that's the concern. But it feels like he's not helping him.
It feels like Doug Peterson, and Zach, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It feels like Doug Peterson's trying to set Carson Wentz up to fail. 4th and 2, why are we not running the ball on 4th and 2, Zach? That pass where Carson Wentz got picked off in the end zone. And,
that was 1st and 10.
Go ahead.
It was 1st and 10. In my opinion, you should be running the ball on every first down.
Exactly. And by the way, that was a great defensive play. I'm not mad at that interception. That was just a great play.
Carson just misread the coverage of the zone, not man.
Exactly, yeah.
And it happens. If that happens once every 5 or 6 games, it happens. I'm more upset at the third down missed throws and drop passes. It's a combination of everything. You can get nitpicky and say, Arcega-Whiteside dropped the third down ball right in his hands. All right, but Carson Wentz also had a few bad missed throws. They're situational. And that's one of the big problems right now. And you got to fix that. That's basic mechanics. Those are things you always should be able to do.
This team is just a disappointment, and there's no accountability. Carson Wentz is always saying here, I got to do better. Okay, we hear you. We understand that, Zach.
I get the help, too, though. There needs to be help with player development. There's nothing wrong still developing him 5 years in.
I said it once. I'm going to say it again. Frank right left is a day that some of that offense died.
That was a creative and fun offense. They did a lot of cool things in 2017. Just go watch the game film for yourself. But coming up after this, Gavin predicted it correctly. The New Orleans Saints fall to the Las Vegas Raiders in a very I'm not going to say it's necessarily lopsided, but that second half was. We'll cover all that and more after this. We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom-designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewers' choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode. Welcome back, everybody, here on the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show on this great Tuesday afternoon. We're going to continue with our conversation here talking about the New Orleans Saints and the Las Vegas Raiders. A shocker, Gavin predicting it correctly there. I know not so fond of the quarterback under center for the Saints, but despite that, Drew Brees did not look good yesterday. He had a lot of missed passes. He does not look good. Either age is catching up with him or Michael Thomas isn't playing. They had no problem last week, and Michael Thomas didn't do too much. Gavin, what happened last night?
I'm gonna tell you what happened like last night. Las Vegas, a beautiful stadium. It's like a beautiful stadium. And you know what happened? The Saints went marching down. Literally, the Saints went marching down into Las Vegas, and they lost. Josh Jacobs, and let me tell you something. That Raiders defense is really underrated. Look at it. They picked off Drew Brees right before halftime, got the ball back for Derek Carr, ultimately setting him up for a great pass. I know late in the game, Henry Ruggs had a big pass interference call that ultimately set him up down in the long run. Drew Brees did not look great at all offense. I told you, Zach, they were going to A with a key and on Alvin Kamara in the run game. Who's going to step up for Drew Brees? Nobody was. No Michael Thomas means, all right, Alvin Kamara, you're going to have to do it. But you can't do it because they're going to key up. Why? But the narrative of today's story, it really shouldn't be how bad the Saints look. It's like how good the Raiders looked last night. The Raiders look fantastic. Derek Carr looked good. Darren Waller was a serious problem. So was Josh Jacobs. Zach, Derek Carr looks like 2017, or excuse me, the year where he got hurt, but they were 13-3 around that time. Zach, they look fantastic. But no one wants to say that. They don't want to talk about how bad the Saints are. So guess what, Zach? The Saints did look bad last night. Drew Brees looked horrible last night. In my honest opinion, I know I'm a little biased towards Drew Brees, but ladies and gentlemen, he said some comments that I don't agree with. And that's where the biasness comes from. But Zach, the Raiders looked really well last night. And I think there might be top 5 in the AFC.
No doubt in my mind that they can. They look like a good team. And just to say, I noticed that trend, a new coach, a new system, a few years of good drafting, and your quarterback looks good. Take note for those who are anti-Carson Wentz right now. But as we continue with that great run game, they drafted a really good running back last year, Max Crosby. They also got in that first round with the Khalil Mack trade. They also got the other defensive end with the Cowboys, Amari Cooper trade. So that's how you do it. Really well constructed. Really good job for that team. So props to the Raiders. Again, we are talking more about we should be uplifting them more than degrading the Saints. But yeah, there are concerns for the Saints, Gavin, and I got to ask you this question. Is this Drew Brees' last year in the NFL?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, it is. And Zach, it should have been last year because, and I would say the same thing for Tom Brady. The game is evolving and you're being left behind. Like I said, baseball is a dying sport. Obviously, every other sport's evolving, reaching out to the younger generation. So the reason why I say that about Drew Brees and Tom Brady and Eli Manning was in that category last year, then obviously Eli Manning lost his job. Look at the game now. Every quarterback is somewhat mobile. Daniel Jones is somewhat mobile. Lamar Jackson is mobile. Patrick Mahomes is mobile. Carson Wentz used to be mobile. Can be. Dwayne Haskins when he wants to be. It's a trend. The trend of nowadays is your quarterback is able to move. Justin Fields is coming pretty soon. Justin Herbert look really well.
Had a rushing touchdown.
Exactly. Kyler Murray. That's the game. The name of the game is changing. It's mobile quarterbacks are changing the league. And I think Drew Brees and Tom Brady, this should be the last year. Because one, Drew Brees, I don't think you could do it no more. You only won one Super Bowl. You're not going to go back anymore. Because the NFC is getting better. And Tom Brady, the same thing with you. You should have stayed in the AFC. And I think Tom Brady's window closed last year, obviously. But, Zach, I just think the game is changing. And these guys are the dying breed, if you want to call it like that.
I got to ask you this then. Did Tom Brady make a mistake leaving New England for Tampa?
No, he did not. He did not. It was clear. It was clear that Tom Brady was not wanted in New England last year. Excuse me, with all the moves. But I think he should have retired last year. But I mean, Tom Brady in Tampa doesn't sound bad. I give him another year there. But I think, but in all honesty, he should have retired with Drew Brees. Drew Brees should have retired, and Tom Brady. It was like Peyton Manning said, you got to know when to call quits. Peyton Manning went off on the sunset. Those guys, Drew Brees, you lost in the first round last year to the Vikings. The Vikings of all teams. And Tom Brady, you got ran over by the Titans defense and metaphorically Derrick Henry. So yes, Zach, in all honesty, I think he should have left. But they should have fired.
No doubt. Do you think Jameis Winston can be that guy in New Orleans? I know it's early to talk about it. He's there. We'll see what happens with him. But Gavin, Winston's there. Taysom Hill is there, who, by the way, in fantasy has become a tight end if anyone's interested in plugging him at the flex position. But in all seriousness, do you think Jameis Winston potentially could be that guy for next year and more years to come?
The problem with Jameis Winston is he had two great wide receivers and a great tight end. He had Chris Godwin and he had Mike Evans. And he threw 30 for 30. And I'm not talking about the ESPN special Zach. I'm talking 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. He was not, and ladies and gentlemen, yes, he led the league in passing yards last year, but he didn't take them anywhere. Zach, when you lead the league in passing yards and touchdowns, you're supposed to go somewhere. And you led the league in interceptions and you didn't go anywhere. You had 30 of them. But Zach, I don't think he's the answer in New Orleans. It's a nice little study for him down there. But Zach, if you had two great wide receivers and a great tight end and OJ Howard, what makes a difference if you have Michael Thomas? You had arguably two players with great skill sets that did two different things that did arguably you could say a little bit more than Michael Thomas. And I know the run game wasn't there. The offensive line wasn't horrible. The defense was great, but you just underperformed. So no, Jameis Winston is not the answer.
All right, well, let's see what happens. But coming up after this preview of tonight's NBA action, Gavin mentioned his opinion earlier. We're going to get to that and more. And then the wrapping up the day with the Philadelphia Phillies. Unfortunately, a lot of information unfolding there, including the possibility that the best catcher in baseball, it might not even return to the Philadelphia Phillies. We'll cover all that after this.
Would you like to know how you can support the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show? If so, head down to the comments on our YouTube channel. You will see two links there. The first is our Teespring, where you can see a wide variety of apparel products, including our signature product, the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show sweatshirts, offered in a variety of different colors, including gray, navy blue, and more. Finally, we have our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly donation member. 10% of all donations go towards an organization of our viewers' choice. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you can't donate, that's okay, because you can always share this.
Welcome back, everyone. We are going to start off our final segment with the Western Conference Finals, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Denver Nuggets. Again, the Lakers winning with a squeaker the other night by a score. I think they won by 1 or 2, Gavin, with a three-pointer from Anthony Davis. Incredible finish. So I'll let you go first. Nuggets, Lakers, who are you taking?
Mason Plumlee, if you don't guard Anthony Davis, if you guard Anthony Davis, it should be a 1-1 score. The series should be 1-1. But guess what? You didn't do it. So now I gotta sit here and say this. Zach, the Nuggets do win tonight, but it is gonna be a hard series to come back from. 3-1, you did it twice. I don't know if you could do it 3 times in a row. I don't know about that. It's never heard of. It'd be surprising. I would love for LeBron to blow a 3-1 lead just so I could shut every LeBron fan up about the Warriors blowing 3-1 leads, because every day I get reminded about that. My man Steph Curry has to hear about that every day of his life. But Zach, I'm going with the Nuggets tonight. And like I said, Zach, if Mason Plumlee doesn't stop the guard LeBron, who wasn't moving, if I may add, it will be a 1-1 series.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's a good matchup. Jamal Murray, again, the guard play is stronger on that side. I mean, I can't even say the bigs are stronger on the Lakers side, because you do have the best center in Nikola Jokic on the other side of the court. But no, I'm taking the Lakers tonight. I think that in Game 4, the Nuggets will win because they're angry. But I think tonight they do continue to struggle. And I think that the Lakers were woken up a little bit like, hey, this is not going to be an easy series. It was a close call. They're going to win tonight. Again, I think that in order to win a game in this series for a team like the Nuggets, you can't out-physical the other team. They got to shoot better. And they will get once or twice. They will shoot better in a game. Jokic, if he can find his groove, they can possibly come back and make this a series. But for now, there's no reason to believe the Los Angeles Lakers won't win tonight. They have shown a lot of they've shown a lot of talent. They've shown a lot of ability. Again, one guy on your bench or supporting staff needs to go off, whether it's Kyle Kuzma or Rondo or Caruso or McGee or somebody. Anyone on that team, as long as Davis and LeBron James do their job. LeBron did not have the best night the other night. He goes hot, cold. And I think he's not going to do that in the finals if he gets there. I think he'll be on every night. But I think that tonight LeBron really needs to show up. He needs to be a dominant scorer. He needs to knock down shots. That's what he has to do tonight in order for them to win. If LeBron struggles tonight, AD is not going to be able to put this team on their back. So I would take the Nuggets in that case, but I do have confidence the Lakers will pull through. But the Nuggets will take Game 4 and possibly Game 5 and make this a series.
Well, Zach, too, you got to remember, the key for the Nuggets to win is you got to get others involved. That's what's making the Lakers great right now. Excuse me, as Contavious Caldwell-Pope is averaging 14 points for the first 2 games of the series. Rajon Rondo in 21 minutes has 9 assists. Is averaging 9 assists. Everybody is getting involved for the Lakers, and the Nuggets aren't getting everybody involved. Michael Porter Jr. said it best. Everybody needs to get involved to win. Kobe Bryant, even though Kobe Bryant said there's an M-E in team, but there's no I in it. Well, there is a point. It is an M-E, but it's team play to get to the finals. And the Nuggets had enough pieces to get there, but you got to get others involved. It can't be the same two. You need a third. That was the problem with the Portland Trailblazers. Damian Lillard would go off, but there would be no one else to help him with. Then that was the problem with the Rockets. James Harden would do something, but Russ would do something. So this you gotta outscore the Lakers. Zach, you're right. You gotta outshoot them too. The Lakers aren't the best shooting team, but they hit their shots. You gotta hit your shots too. 15-footers, Zach. I say the same thing for Ben Simmons. I'm gonna say the same thing for Nuggets. You gotta just get the shots to fall, and you gotta get people involved.
No doubt. And so, again, we've had our opinions here. We'll see what happens. And tomorrow we'll talk about that. And then the Miami Heat series. We'll continue with that conversation moving forward. But, Gavin, the Phillies lost in an embarrassing fashion last night. They are somehow still in the playoffs. As I always do, I'm going to pull up here the MLB standings. JT Realmuto is playing today in the first game of the doubleheader. We're not sure if he'll DH possibly in the second game. But the Phillies are one game back exactly of the Marlins. They sit exactly at 500 with 6 games to go, 27-27. They play tonight, the Nationals twice, and they play again tomorrow. They play the Rays in that final series, and they need to win almost every game, in my opinion here. They got to get above the Marlins. You got to do something. You got to make the playoffs. Pull together. You got Nola pitching the first game today. I think the second game's a bullpen game. We'll see what happens from there, Gavin. What are your thoughts there? And then finally, what are your thoughts on Matt Klentak not sounding so confident in re-signing JT Realmuto in this offseason?
Well, for one, I think the Phillies can get it done. You beat the Washington for the majority. Guys, we got to go back to the majority. You got to win today. You got to win 2 of these games today, or you got to at least, you got to win 2 of them, and then you can lose tomorrow. But win them all. Try to at least. The Rays, get the majority. I know you're not going to win the series because they got great pitching, but get the majority. On to the idiot Matt Klentak. This is just for you. Shut up. I don't want to hear about Sicto Sanchez. I don't want to hear about it. You traded for JT Realmuto, which, by the way, Zach, is not a bad trade. Now, here's the idea. How about you stop trying to, Sicto Sanchez is having a lights out season. We know, we see it. But guess what? We don't want to hear about it. Just sign JT Realmuto, please, and thank you. And then you could get fired. Better yet, how about this? John Milton, how about you just fire the idiot, and we get someone new that will sign JT Realmuto and get a better bullpen. I don't want to hear Matt Klentak talk. And that man came out a little bit harsh, but Zach, I'm pissed off. LeBron words.
Yeah, no, you don't trade Jorge Alfaro and 2 really good pitching prospects for the best catcher in baseball to not extend him. Like why wouldn't you extend him? Having a good catcher, having good pitching, having a guy like Bryce Harper, these are the fundamentals of a good baseball team. I don't get why you wouldn't sign him. I'm sorry that John Middleton hurt your feelings and jumped over your head to fire your buddy Gabe Kapler. But at some point, this team needs to start functioning, okay? If you go out of this year 500, it's going to be a tough one. You start the season off by losing 2 of 3 to Miami. You guys get shut down for a few weeks because of COVID. You show some promise for 10 to 15 games, and that's enough in a season this short. You might make the playoffs this year, but Matt Klentak needs to realize here, guys, Gavin said, stop talking, man. Just stop talking. Sign JT. There's no reason not to. Don't try to save money here. He's a guy that you need to bring in. You can go out and start working your way to get some good pitching this offseason. But no, this is a disaster so far, and hopefully it doesn't get worse from here. But we'll continue to report as more information breaks out. Again, I mean, just sign JT. He's the best.
Can we not blame Joe Girardi, please? Sorry to cut you off, Zach. Can we not blame Joe Girardi? It's not his damn fault. He didn't know this bullpen was that garbage. It's Matt Klentak's fault. No, not like baseball has a hard cap. They don't. Zach,
you have money. You have a lot of money to work with.
You have a lot of money and not more any excuses. Fire this idiot. Fire this idiot in the general manager spot. Let's get someone with some more intelligence that know what they're doing. And before you fire him, stop talking. Sign JT Realmuto. I'm not trying to be no rude. I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm not trying to be like that. But I'm tired of this man. Tired of this guy.
Absolutely ridiculous. I think general managers has kind of been the general theme today as we talk here about the Phillies and the Eagles. Coming up tomorrow, we'll continue coverage on the Lakers and Nuggets series, continue our conversation about the NFL, preview the game for Thursday night, and then a few other things. We're trying to get some hour shows in this week. Make sure you stay tuned for updates. With that being said, everybody, thank you so much for joining us here on today's edition of the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. Have a great day.
Have a good one, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts